Hello there. My name is Tim Begley, and today I wanted to talk to you about the 1951 musical film An American in Paris. And one of the topics that I wanted to talk about was the topic of film language. Now, film language is a method of narrative expression which promotes the development of the narrative and the plot. And that's just basically a quick run summary. So, one of the questions that I wanted to ask was, how does a filming enhance the musical? And to do that, I wanted to talk about what film can do that a Broadway musical can't. So let's get started. The first thing I wanted to talk about is the mise en scène. When when putting together a Broadway performance, it's very limited with how the scene is set or staged. We clearly have one gigantic stage with a bunch of cut out or painted backgrounds, but it never truly feels real. It always feels like fake and that sort of sense. Like this can take place anywhere. When it comes to filming, you have more open space. You can clearly see, and to build more set designs, you can clearly see this is Paris. For our main character Jerry, you can tell this is an art studio. For the musical number S Wonderful, you can tell it's a cafe in Paris they're singing in a cafe. When it comes to Broadway, you can never really tell because it's always limited with how it looks. And it's very clear what is fake and what isn't. It never truly feels real. And speaking of something that never feels truly real, let's also talk about the next topic, editing. When it comes to filming, filming and camera crew takes an awfully long time. And you're obviously going to need to cut things and make smooth transitions. Editing allows this in films because you can mess up in certain elements and you'll still be fine. You can forget lines because that's okay. They can always shoot it again. So you don't feel as much pressure into that. With Broadway plays, you never really get that sense of editing. There's never really a pause. Everything has to be very on the nose tops, and if you mess up a line, you can't go back and redo it. You can't let the audience know that you made a mistake. And speaking of mistakes, let's go to the next part, which is the sound and music. Now, when it comes to sound in Broadway musicals, you're obviously going to be speaking with voices and also with microphones so that the audience can hear you and understand you. But what if a sound or a mic suddenly shuts off or something goes wrong in the production? You can't go back and do it. With film, sound can be very clear, crisp, and audio, and you obviously don't need to worry about to echo and reverb, one of the key main factors in audio production. Take, for example, that scene in the song I Got Rhythm. When it came to Jerry singing with all the kids, they necessarily didn't have to work, each kid didn't need to have a whole microphone on them. But instead, thanks to the boom mic, each sound could be picked up clear, crisp, and plus everything could be, and if it didn't sound right, then they could always enhance that. Then they could always enhance that with post-production. Post-production is key. And speaking of post-production, sound, and editing, there's also lighting. In terms of Broadway production, everything is always set on a stage with certain lights, but it always feels, how do I put this delicately? Hollow. It kind of feels fake in a sense. You don't necessarily get the lighting that is needed for a particular scene. When it comes to filming, lighting is one of the main factors. For example, in the scene I Got Rhythm, you can clearly tell it's daylight and the streets of Paris are alive. And then you get another song such as Love Is Here to Stay, where it's nighttime and you can see the colors are visible. You can clearly tell that there's a night sky out there. And also the lighting is still much more clean, crisp. It stretches the color out more, and we can see the visible expressions on both Jerry and Lisa's faces and what they're going with. And the one major issue I want to tackle, camera work. You don't see this in Broadway productions, and I seriously doubt they film it. But with camera, every scene you're in, you make sure you're centered on the camera, and that the camera, the actors act like their camera is focused on them. And finally, another thing I wanted to talk about is performance. When it comes to filming, I always felt that the performance of the cast and crew felt actually a lot more calm. They didn't have to worry about messing up their lines so much, because they could always, like they are in Broadway productions, because they can always come back and mess up, but they can still find something worth of, but they can always mess up, but try again. You can't really do that in Broadway productions. Anything that can go wrong will. So that's what I wanted to talk about film language. Hope you enjoyed it. Bye.